I was that vanishing act of a first love, the kind who disappears off the face of the earth the moment she goes abroad. Even though I posted 100 updates a day on my feed and chatted non-stop in our group chat, Luke never once showed up to say a word, or even like a post. Until one day, a friend hit me with some gossip. Luke, unable to reach me, had found himself a stand-in girlfriend who looked about 70% like me. I scrolled through the 20 posts I'd just uploaded and double-checked I hadn't blocked or hidden Luke. So I pulled up our chat and typed, "Did you block me?" Luke replied fast. "No," I sent back. "So? Not even a pity like for your long-lost friends feed? A little love for the exile?" I saw the little typing bubble pop up, but I didn't wait for him to finish. I just went off. "You heard the latest gossip yet? They're saying you couldn't reach me, so you went out and found a replacement girlfriend." "Is that for real?" "I saw the pics, damn. That girl's hot." "You lucky bastard." "Anyway, is she a fling or your actual girlfriend? If it's official, you better get ahead of the rumors. Wouldn't want your girlfriend to get hurt. Come on. Bring out that CEO energy, go full. It's over for you all, and shut these nosy clowns up. Always pushing that Beijing air falls for his Moonlight crap. It's embarrassing." During those years abroad, I spent every day glued to my phone, chatting like it was a full-time job. Luke could never keep up with my lightning-fast fingers. By the time I finished my rant, he finally responded to the first message. I don't usually check my moments. Luke and I weren't exactly strangers, but we weren't close either. We used to be neighbors, went to the same kindergarten and elementary school, walked to and from school together every day. Our parents saw us as childhood sweethearts, two peas in a pod. But once we were at school, we barely acknowledged each other. I'd tried being friends with him, but all he did was bury his head in a book. Ask him to do anything, he'd just silently go do it, then head straight back to reading. If I hadn't heard him call out Mom or Dad before, I would have thought he was mute. To little me, he was the definition of a boring nerd. It wasn't until middle school, when Luke started skipping grades and got accepted into a gifted program, that I realized, as I hit junior year, he'd already gone abroad. That's when it hit me, I was the idiot all along. By the time Luke came back from studying overseas, I was still debating whether to go to grad school. His family, the Dawsons, threw a lavish welcome-back banquet. Since our families were long-time friends, of course I went with my parents. The moment I walked in, my eyes locked onto the cool, poised man at the center of the party. The nerd from my memories had shed all signs of adolescence. Now he wore a tailored suit like he was born in it, calm, composed, able to hold his own against seasoned business sharks. Every gesture radiated effortless elegance. From the way his sleeves stretched when he moved, I could tell he worked out. Didn't even need him to take off his shirt. I knew he had abs. Silently, I changed his contact name in my phone to Luke 189 Tall Cold Abs. My bestie, Julia, sneaky as ever, popped her head over my shoulder and read it out loud. The whole banquet went dead silent. You could have heard a pin drop. It was only thanks to the parents from both families laughing it off that the moment passed. After that night, even which brand of spicy snacks Luke and I liked as kids got dug up by the gossip crowd. I used to be one of them, sure, but even I had to protest their insanity. Because then they started making up stuff about me. Like, shocking, heir to top Beijing family might be in love. Childhood sweetheart makes bold move at banquet, look how he reacts. You've never seen a Beijing heir like this before. Out of nowhere, childhood friend returns, revealed to be heir of a top-tier family. 5 signs of a legendary love rekindled. No matter how I tried to explain, these morally bankrupt gossip mongers acted deaf. Day after day, rumor after rumor. Luke staying silent only fueled their fire. Eventually, they even created a full character backstory and a 300-page setting document. It was so detailed, our parents actually reached out to check on us. The gossip account Julia had started, Rich, Reckless, got rebranded to Capital City Heartbreak. Why heartbreak? Obviously because these bored freaks didn't want to see me happy. It was all this ridiculous drama that drove me to pack my bags and run off for grad school abroad. The moment I left, the story updated to, Heartless Moonlight leaves for school. Heir of Beijing's elite left longing at the gate. They even included a photo of Luke standing alone at the airport, people rushing past, him gazing quietly toward the boarding gate. Gotta admit, it looked kinda real. Except, I don't remember Luke ever coming to see me off. I scrolled down to find the post had 197 reads. My soul left my body. At the top of the comments, my mum, "Don't be sad, Luke. Jennifer will come back." Then Luke's mum chimed in, "Our poor babies. You two have to stay together." Julia jumped in. "Wonder if Jennifer will still remember Luke when she returns." Me. Thanks for the concern over this entirely fictional love story. I left the country, not the planet. While abroad, friendless and bored out of my mind, I turned into a chatterbox popping off in every group chat, posting 10 times a day. What else was I supposed to do? Thankfully, my absence meant the already rare interactions between me and Luke dried up completely. All that remained were occasional holiday greetings over WeChat. With no new material to go off, the gossip crew finally gave up on us. The public account went back to covering socialite scandals, and I returned to my role as a professional drama consumer. But now, 3 years later, the long-lost Moonlight had returned home. As I scrolled through a flood of messages in the gossip group, I was speechless. Every now and then, someone dropped a blurry photo or a sketchy link rumors of some actress arm-in-arm with Beijing's favorite heir. I squinted at the grainy pics, baffled at how these people managed to extract any real info from a couple of vague silhouettes. Still, the actress dubbed "just a pretty face" did give me pause. She was stunning. The chipao hugged her curves just right, and every expression was full of charm. Her eyes, half-lidded, seemed to brim with unspoken longing. Wait, what does she actually kind of look like me? No wonder the group had spiraled into White Moonlight doppelganger fanfiction. This is just like in novels, someone said. The Moonlight goes abroad for 3 years, then returns. Thanks for the shout-out, I did. In fact, take 3 years to graduate. Then comes the welcome back banquet, where she sees her ex, with a girl who looks just like her. That's not going to happen. I never had an ex to begin with. According to romance tropes, the original flame is always the villainess, and the look-alike turns out to be the real heroine. Damn, Jennifer's about to become the evil ex. Great, I could already picture the headlines on that public gossip account. True that? A Beijing heir and a Qipao beauty? Classic combo. Wonder if Luke's thinking about becoming a monk next. I didn't know what his plans were, but I sure had one coming back to China for a full-on showdown. And you're target number 1. Place your bets. Team White Moonlight to me, Team Lookalike to the group owner. Perfect. You pissed me off. I'm betting on the lookalike. I went back to my messages and saw Luke had replied a few times. I tapped in. He was asking what photo I was talking about and said he hadn't gotten a girlfriend. So I sent him the group chat link. To my surprise, Luke called me right after. I picked up, a little taken aback. It's a misunderstanding. I didn't get a girlfriend, and definitely not a lookalike. I'll clear this up right away. His voice was low and smooth. Like velvet brushing against my ear gave me instant goosebumps. I blinked, stunned for a second, then added Dreamboat voice to his contact name. Staring at the updated contact, I finally asked, "So that blurry mess of a photo really was you?" Luke went silent for 3 seconds before answering in a quiet hum. September 13th, around 9 p.m. I'd just finished a business dinner. I bumped into that actress. I was a bit tipsy and, for a second, mistook her for you. I walked over, realized it wasn't, and left immediately. No words, no physical contact. Okay, maybe a bit more detail than necessary. Maybe it was all the gossip group nonsense, but for some reason I was starting to feel a little awkward. We really didn't have much else to say. Just as I was about to awkwardly laugh and end the call, Luke asked, "You flying back tomorrow?" Me. Yeah, 9 a.m. flight. In truth, I'd quietly changed it to 7 a.m., telling everyone 9 just to dodge the chaos of those gossipy gremlins showing up. Luke. All right. After that, we both fell into this weird silence. I could clearly hear his keyboard tapping in the background. I said, "I'll let you get back to work. Talk later," and hung up. My suitcase was mostly packed. After my shower, I came out to find my phone blowing up with messages from Julia. "Ah, Jennifer. Look, Luke just posted on his moments." Huh? I rushed over to see. Before I even opened it, I saw a bright red 152 notification, ticking up with every second. +1, +1, +1. I opened it and saw every like came from one person, Luke. What in the world? I raised an eyebrow and went to check his feed. First thing I saw, Luke's statement. "No girlfriend. Stop spreading rumors." Attached was a legal notice clarifying the situation and reserving the right to sue. The like list was a mile-long profile pics lined up like a stamp collection. It took me a full 10 seconds of scrolling to reach the comments. My sister. "Well, damn, the prince rises from the grave." Luke's mom. "These paparazzi and gossip accounts are out of control." "Good job, Luke." My cousin. "So this is the only rumor we're clearing up." My other cousin. "Signed up for the Capital Heartbreak Deluxe package." Julia. "My ship lives." From Julia's comment down, the replies were like a countdown. "Wait, is this a love confession? Hold up, are you guys official now? What an engagement invite." "You're getting married. You already tied the knot?" Watching the comments spiral out of control, my forehead started twitching. At first, these chaotic gremlins were just bored, spinning random gossip for fun. Even during the fanfic stage, they'd kept Dawson out of it. Sure, Beijing Prince sounded cringe. But let's be real, Dawson's family was the creme de la creme in the capital. Not the kind you mess with. Especially not someone like Luke, untouchably aloof. Clearly not the type to tolerate being turned into a fanfic character. So, when their stories started crossing the line, I went to Luke and begged him to put an end to this before our reputations tanked. Luke said he'd hand it off to his assistant. I waited and waited, bugged him constantly, and all I got back was radio silence. My gremlin friends realized Luke didn't care, so they went completely feral. They still didn't dare touch him but me. They roasted me daily. After 3 years abroad, I thought they'd mellowed out. Turns out they just got bolder. They even started performing right in front of Luke like they had a death wish. All right, fine. Play your games. But pull that stunt in front of the main character? You're asking for trouble. Ding! A flash notification caught my eye. I clicked it without thinking and instantly regretted it. Julia had sent a link. The gossip account had rebranded again from Rich Reckless back to Capital City Heartbreak. Her typing speed matched mine, maybe even beat it. In no time, she'd written a 3-0-word teaser. Beijing air breaks silence. Moonlight returns. Home was the lookalike, a misunderstanding or a hidden truth. Let's break it all down. I hadn't even done anything. Yet somehow I felt deeply embarrassed. Suddenly, I didn't want to come back anymore. I took a screenshot, thinking of sending it to Luke. The notification bubble on my moments kept ticking up. Striking while the iron was hot, I gave him a call. He picked up instantly. I cut straight to the point. "Look, I know my feed's fun and charming, but can you chill? We've got a more urgent problem now." "Luke, what is it?" I decided to probe. "Did you check the comments they left on your post?" "Luke, not yet." "Go look, now," I urged. "Okay." Luke acknowledged me, then went silent. I waited. As the silence dragged on, I started to feel this strange pressure seeping through the line like a cold front, rolling in from the other side of the phone. My imagination kicked in. The capital's crowned prince, offended by mere mortals. His face dark as ink, air around him ice cold. His gaze, a predator's one look, enough to make a room full of people go pale and tremble like leaves. Ha ha. I couldn't help but laugh awkwardly. Luke's voice came through, confused. What's funny? Nothing. I cleared my throat, pretending to compose myself, then leaned in for the drama. So, finished reading? Any thoughts? Luke. No. Huh? I choked, panic setting in. They're talking about marriage. This is getting insane. As if realizing a single syllable was too perfunctory, Luke paused and added, It is pretty ridiculous, I said. Aren't you going to do something about it? Luke asked back. Like what? I sighed, exasperated. Clarify it, obviously. Like issue a warning to those gossip accounts. Luke replied in his usual calm tone. All right, I'll have my assistant handle it. That line again so familiar. I sighed and offered a sincere suggestion. You should fire that assistant. They're clearly incompetent. After all these years, they still haven't handled this properly. Luke didn't respond. Also, I added, stop liking all my old moments posts. There's no end to them. Luke. Okay. At exactly 7 p.m., my flight landed on time. The moment I stepped out of the airport, I saw Luke walking toward me. We both looked a little surprised. He strode up naturally and took my suitcase from me. You changed your flight? I nodded. What are you doing here? Luke. Came to pick you up. I blinked at him for 2 seconds, then asked hesitantly, I don't think I told anyone I changed my flight? Luke answered casually, I got off work and figured I'd stop by to wait for you. Hearing that, my brain short-circuited a little. Unless I'm mistaken, your house is west of your office. The airport's to the east. And if I hadn't changed my flight, were you planning to wait until 9? Luke didn't seem to think any of this was strange. His expression didn't change, as he simply replied, Yeah. His attitude was so naturally bizarre, I didn't even know how to respond. I had to ask, Why'd you suddenly decide to pick me up? Luke's steps slowed. He tilted his head slightly to look at me, voice low. It's not sudden. I come to pick you up every time. Huh? I blinked, surprised. How come I didn't know that? Luke stopped walking, face unusually serious as he looked at me. You didn't know? You never said anything, and I've never seen you at the airport. For some reason, I suddenly felt a little guilty. School wasn't too demanding, so every long break I'd hop on a plane back home. Sometimes, when I felt lonely or hit rock bottom abroad, I'd book a flight last minute and fly back overnight. Usually, my sister or Julia and the crew came to pick me up. I didn't fly back that often, but I'd never once seen Luke. If he had really come, Julia and the others would have gone wild, taking pictures and writing fanfics, waving flags and cheering for our tragic love story. But come to think of it, every time I posted about returning home, Luke would message me asking what time my flight was. He doesn't lie, so had he really come to pick me up every single time? I looked at his handsome face, torn between amusement and speechlessness. You, some kind of ninja. Luke pressed his lips together, saying nothing. I quickly added, Next time just tell me, okay? Say something. I'm not a mind reader. How was I supposed to know? No wonder Julia always said he was born to be a cold, aloof CEO in a tragic chasing the wife drama. Luke lowered his eyes, saying nothing, lost in thought. Once we got in the car, he finally spoke. Jennifer. Yeah? For tomorrow night's welcome back banquet. Can I be your date? Streetlights passed over his face through the car window, highlighting those deep, striking eyes locked on me. I took my time admiring his face, then declined gently. Probably not a good idea. Luke. Why not? Me. Do you really think if we show up together, that gossip account won't go on a 30-day posting spree? You always say no to me, he said. My family wasn't expecting me back early, so they swarmed around in surprise, cooing and fussing like I was home from battle. Limited time long-lost daughter returns. Special. Left and right, hands touched my face, my arms, like I was a monkey in a zoo. My sister helped unpack my luggage. Did you tell Julia and the rest you changed your flight? Nope. On purpose. I tucked away my laptop, voice casual. My sister smirked with evil delight. You have no idea what you're walking into. I thought she meant Julia and the others would storm the house once they realized they missed me, so I just chuckled fearlessly. After we finished unpacking, dinner was ready. The whole family sat around the table in a rare, cozy scene. The familiar flavors nearly moved me to tears. Studying abroad nearly turned me into a full-time chef, but nothing beats a home-cooked meal. After a full day of flying, I showered and crashed. That night, my phone blew up. Led by Julia, the chaotic squad had gone full public embarrassment at the airport with the big three: a giant banner, loudspeakers, and a life-size cutout of me. Called it. When I didn't show, they got worried and spammed my phone with wellness checks. It was a whole circus. The moment I was forced to turn my phone back on, Julia banged a rolling pin against a steel pot. I almost had a heart attack. After some yelling and mutual blame-throwing, we finally got to the point tonight's welcome back banquet. I'm not going. If you don't go, what material do we have to work with? The Moonlight's return is the main event. Huh. So now you're not even pretending anymore, huh? I opened the gossip account and shoved the latest post in Julia's face. White Moonlight returns, but is nowhere to be found. Ditched her friends to rekindle romance with the heir. Doubt swirls around the look-alike. A love triangle too tangled to unravel. Seriously, you didn't even see me and still managed to write 13,000 words overnight? Julia gave a modest little smile. What can I say? Just getting back to my roots. Still got it. Then she pulled up today's trending topics. Some people outdid, even us paid, to put you on the trending list. I frowned and looked at the screen. Topics included: Runaway Moonlight comes to life, White Moonlight Isabel, A Guide to Terrible Friends. I clicked into the first one. It was a video posted by a promo account. In it, a group of mysterious people in suits and sunglasses stood proud at the airport arrivals gate. In the center, my life-size cutout. 4 men in black held 2 banners, while others blared announcements through megaphones. White Moonlight, we miss you in the capital. White Moonlight, come home. The prince knows he was wrong. At least they left me a shred of dignity and didn't name me directly. Though the group chat had all the photos, seeing it again on the trending list was a new level of psychological damage. I didn't even dare check the comments. Who helped you people betray me? Julia, half laughing, helped me take it down and delete the posts. Isabel, she said, pointing at a new 9-grid photo post from Isabel. The moment I saw the pics, I finally remembered who she was, the actress people mistook for the stand-in girlfriend. She wore a long white dress, soft makeup, and a gentle, alluring smile. Her looks were bold and glamorous, but this style was way too understated for her. Look, Julia said, raising an eyebrow. She's wearing the same dress and jewelry as you. To match the White Moonlight theme, they had specifically picked a soft, innocent-looking photo of her, printed it into a life-size standee with the same dress, same hairstyle, same jewelry. The déjà vu was strong. I scrolled through Isabel's photo gallery and saved a few shots. In many novels, the White Moonlight has gentle, delicate looks, while the stand-in is bold and striking. In that sense, Isabel and I fit the archetypes pretty well. But I lacked all the noble qualities of a White Moonlight. I was not only shameless, but also uncivilized. I opened the document Julia had sent Isabel's profile. To pay for her mother's medical bills, she dove into showbiz. Her stunning looks brought her brief fame, but after a short push, The company made her a foil for another star, and she became the internet's favorite target. Julia added. Rumor has it, a CEO tried to sleep with her and got rejected, so her resources dried up, a little punishment to humble her. Just as she finished, her phone chimed. Whoa! I leaned over. Another update from a gossip account, a blurry airport pic, showing Luke and me from the side. The post even included Isabel's itinerary and flight info, captioned, Heir of the elite family caught in a romance with stunning actress. Julia's eyes sparkled. Oh ho, so you only told Luke about the flight change, huh? I was at a total loss for words. That blurry photo of Luke and me got taken down instantly because Luke had shown up at our place. When Julia and I were together, there were no rules. But the moment Luke appeared, she turned quiet as a quail. Gift, he said, handing me a wrapped box. I smiled and thanked him as I opened it. I'd gotten used to his habit of giving rare auction items during holidays. But this time really blew me away. The pink diamond from the August N Country auction, I remembered it went to an anonymous billionaire for $9.7 million. It had gone way over my budget, and I'd mourned it with daily rants on my feed for a month. So you were the billionaire? I grinned ear to ear and teased. I'm just coming home for a bit. Isn't this too extravagant? I'm embarrassed. Luke, I was going to give you a porcelain vase, but 2 days ago, I saw how obsessed you were with this diamond on your feed, so I reached out to the buyer and bought it off them. I was stunned again. It just arrived? Luke. Yeah, I was deeply moved. From this day on, you're my one and only bro. Dropping 7 million just like that, fine, I admit it. Luke really does live up to the capital city prince's name. I'll never cringe at that title again. Julia crouched nearby, doing live commentary in a whisper. $1 million diamond quietly changes hands. Mystery buyer revealed. But white Moonlight just doesn't get it. I wore that ring and posted a dozen extra dramatic selfies. Couldn't help it. I loved it. But that wasn't enough. At the banquet, I held up my wine glass and let it gleam under the lights. Didn't even take a sip purely for show. All right, you're practically shoving it in people's faces, my sister finally said, unable to watch anymore. But me, rebel to the core, I wasn't stopping. Then came a call from Julia. She was trying to sound calm, but was clearly bursting with excitement. Attic 1102, gossip, right now. I blinked there immediately. I can be her stand-in. I've got the acting chops, I can totally mimic her. Julia and I crept up and peeked through a sliver of the door. A man stood tall, half shrouded in shadow. The woman across from him had red eyes, stubborn yet vulnerable. The whole scene screamed twisted obsession. Holy hell, Luke and Isabel. No wonder they both disappeared. You've seen the photos too, right? We look alike, don't we? If you want, I can look even more like her. Isabel's voice came through clearly. Julia and I exchanged glances, both wide-eyed with disbelief. The whole Capital Prince and his stand-in Moonlight thing wasn't just a fandom fantasy anymore. They were actually doing it. Calling me a stand-in is an insult to her. Luke's voice was cold and sharp. He was angry. After dropping that line, he turned to leave. Isabel panicked and dropped to her knees, clinging to his leg. Please, just give me a chance. She doesn't even like you. Luke's expression turned absolutely grim, clearly furious at being manhandled by a stranger. Isabel sobbed uncontrollably. I worked so hard to get close to you. Just give me a shot. At least a trial run, please. In my head, I was clucking. Was this the classic forced love from the stand-in? Click! A shutter went off, not loud, but loud enough for the two leads to hear. I smiled and turned to see Julia awkwardly tucking her phone away. Oops. Forgot to mute it. President Wang keeps harassing me, threatening me with breach penalties. But he's married and ugly. I really couldn't bring myself to lower my standards. Even if I become a mistress, I want a good-looking sugar daddy. The woman across from us sobbed harder, recounting her tragic backstory. I handed her a second box of tissues. So, you came after Luke? Mmm. Isabel dabbed her tears non-stop. Rumor has it the Prince of Beijing had a white moonlight who left him, and I just happened to look a lot like her. I kept a straight face, but inside, my brain exploded. What? That ridiculous rumor had spread outside the friend group. I elbowed Julia hard. She clutched her waist, coughing violently. Isabel continued confidently. Besides, you don't even like him. He's single, rich, powerful, and I look like you. High odds. Of course I'd go for him. Her voice was bitter and wronged. Yesterday, President Wang threatened to blacklist me if I didn't reconsider. I had no choice. I was desperate. I had to make Luke notice me. But no matter how many times I staked him out, I never got close. The one time I did, it was late at night. He walked by and left before I could say anything. While crying, she still managed to pitch herself. I'm a really good actress. Check out my early work. I only act stiff now because of the roles they give me for publicity. Meanwhile, Luke stood there like a statue. Julia nudged my arm. Didn't your mum give you an entertainment company to play with? I raised an eyebrow, matching Luke's icy demeanor, and said to Isabel, "Want to sign a performance clause?" The crying stopped instantly. Isabel looked up, eyes wide in shock, stumbling over her words. I have to read the contract first. I smiled sweetly. Read, then sign. No negotiations. You're not in a position to bargain. That whole situation was resolved surprisingly quickly. After the banquet, I rode back in Luke's car. He was staring out the window, visibly tense and brooding. I fondly stroked the pink diamond on my finger and leaned closer to check on my one and only bro. Not happy? Luke looked at me. Why give her a chance? I smiled. Because she can bring value to the company. Gotta make money, right? Luke said nothing. The car pulled up to the villa. As I opened the door to get out, Luke grabbed my wrist. She lured me to the attic using you as an excuse. I could actually hear a trace of grievance in his voice. I patted his shoulder reassuringly. That's so messed up. I'll add 2 ironclad clauses to the contract to avenge you. White Moonlight and stand-in make peace, but the truth is. Shocking! Rival in love becomes my boss. White Moonlight Denise, romance prince leaves in defeat. Click to watch the heartbreak saga unfold. I flipped them all off and reported every last one. Isabel had officially been absorbed into my company. After signing the contract, she was rushed into classes and gigs. I majored in oil painting, knew nothing about running a company, and was drowning in chaos every day. My sister finally assigned me a special assistant to keep me from bankrupting the place. In the entertainment world, dinners and drinks were part of the job, especially for newbies fighting for projects. I found Luke was a great alcohol buffer, so I kept dragging him to events as my lucky charm. After a while, he got fed up. You don't even like me. Don't call me out at night anymore, I said. It's just work, not like we're... Luke cut me off. You go out at night with men you don't like? I don't go out at night with women I don't like. I choked. But it's business. Before I could finish, Luke hung up. Daytime Luke could be unhinged, but when I called at night, he'd still show up. Thanks to relentless effort, the company was stabilizing. I finally got the quarterly report down by over 50%. I cried to Julia, and she felt so bad she booked me a few male models to help soothe my soul. One of the models looked kinda like Luke. I hugged him and opened bottle after bottle. The rest of the girls were drunk, snapping chaotic pics and posting them in the group chat with captions already written. Ultimate twist! White Moonlight's bar romance prince becomes the stand-in. That's when we realized Luke was in that group chat too. I stood there helplessly as Luke's assistant escorted the drunk girls out one by one and dismissed my sweet model boy. Damn it. Luke had been undercover for years and no one noticed. He stood in front of me, eyes downcast. The room was dimly lit, and the look in his eyes was unreadable. I was creeped out by his stare and grabbed a bottle from the table. "Drink!" Luke silently sat beside me, took the bottle from my hand, and drank straight from it. I was stunned. That liquor was practically industrial grade, and he just chugged it like it was water. The alcohol ran down from the corner of his mouth, his Adam's apple bobbing hard as he gulped. Under the light, the drops on his skin glittered. When the bottle was empty, he set it down and stared at the table in silence. I sat next to him for about 10 minutes. He didn't move, like a statue. Finally, I couldn't take it and poked his arm. Bam! He toppled over, stiff as a board. I staggered as I dragged Luke into the bedroom. He fell straight onto the bed, pulling me down with him. All his weight crushed me. I nearly died. I struggled to wriggle free, but he grabbed my wrist again. Exhausted, I sighed. I turned to look at him. He lay there sideways, his usually cold eyes hazy with alcohol, staring straight at me. His bangs were messy, collar half open, shirt slightly lifted to reveal firm abs, totally different from his usual neat appearance. It was the first time I'd seen Luke like this. I was frozen. Even as he slowly guided my hand, I stood there, dazed, locked in his gaze. My palm brushed against firm muscle. I instinctively curled my fingers. When I realized what was happening, I jumped back, but his grip on my wrist yanked me straight into his chest. Luke let out a low groan. Even though I crashed into him, he was the one asking, "You okay?" His warm breath brushed past my ear. His voice, hoarse from drinking, carried a softness that made my heart pound. I scrambled off him in a panic. My hand was still on his abs. I yanked, but couldn't break free. Scowling, I snapped, "Let go." Luke suddenly looked hurt. Are my abs not as nice to touch as that model's? I seriously thought I was hallucinating. Who was drunk here again? "Don't go after male models, okay? I'm not so bad either. I work out every day to stay in shape." Luke kept talking. My brain was still stunned, but my body had already raised my phone instinctively. Am I not better looking than them? Is my body not better? You have to pay for them. I come free. I've liked you since we were little. Jennifer, I like you. Can you like me too? I squatted beside the bed, playing the video I just recorded over and over. My face was burning like a furnace. I took a few deep breaths, trying to calm my racing heart. No use. I gave up, stood up, and stared at Luke's face for a while. My heart sped up again. I shook him awake. He blinked, bleary-eyed, still stupid, still drunk. I tried asking, "If you like me, why didn't you chase me?" Drunk Luke answered everything. "Didn't dare." "Why not?" "Haven't earned 10 billion yet." "Why 10 billion? Uncle Delaney's requirement." "Why was my dad involved?" I patted Luke's face. "Focus." "What do you mean?" Luke just mumbled. "Haven't made 10 billion yet." My curiosity was off the charts, but I wasn't getting answers. I wanted to slap him awake and run to my dad's bedside for an explanation. "Diary," Luke muttered. I immediately asked, "Where?" Even drunk, his memory was sharp. "Desk, third drawer. Password's your birthday. Bottom notebook of the first stack on the left." I pulled open the drawer. It was packed with notebooks. Following his instructions, I pulled out the bottom one and opened it eagerly. And wow, I was shocked. Smart kids start journaling in kindergarten? Back then, I could barely write my name. His handwriting was neat. Even the bits he didn't know were filled in with pinion. I flipped page after page, totally blown away. One of the pages had tear stains. May 27th, sunny. Jennifer kissed me on the cheek, so I kissed her back. But Uncle Delaney spanked me, called me a little rascal, and said I had to make 10 billion before I could be with Jennifer. I protested, tried to reason with him, and got spanked again. "The page was all wrinkled, you could tell, little Luke," cried his heart out writing it. I knew I shouldn't laugh at such innocent affection, but... So that's why Luke never confessed. I gleefully flipped through the rest. shamelessly reading all his other diary entries. The last one stopped in September 2012, right around when he skipped grades. I want to grow up fast, so I can make 10 billion and confess to Jennifer. I don't want to skip grades. I don't want to leave her. But I need to graduate early so I can start working. After finishing the diary, I carefully put it back. A wave of emotions welled up in me. I stood by the bed, eyes lowered, looking at the person lying there. Luke was still trying hard to stay awake. Moonlight fell across half his face, casting a soft glow over his dark pupils, crystal clear and deeply beautiful. We stared at each other like that, one sober, one dazed. After a while, I spoke. Luke. Are you an idiot? I'm not. Moments feed. Me and Luke getting together is 100% thanks to everyone's tireless rumor spreading. Let's hear it for the crowd. One post stirred up 1,000 ripples. Wait, we were just joking. But you two are actually real. Hold on, is this for real, or are you just losing it? How did this even happen? I knew it. When Luke didn't stop our fanfiction chaos, I just knew he was into Jennifer. Shut up! I'm rooting for you both. Messages exploded. The ones closest to me started calling. I turned off my phone and went to sleep, let him panic. When I woke up, it was already evening. I lay there squinting for a bit before sitting up. My head was still foggy. You're awake. A deep voice startled me. I turned and saw Luke, and everything from last night came flooding back. I licked my lips, unable to resist poking the bear. Do you remember what happened last night? Luke paused for a beat, then said, I like you. That sudden straight shot hit me right in the chest. Before I could react, Luke leaned closer, eyes locked on mine. I love you. My face betrayed me and turned red, but my mouth stayed stubborn. You haven't earned 10 billion yet. Luke, can we lower the requirement? Ask my dad. I'm scared. I raised an eyebrow. He just spanked you once. Luke corrected me. Twice. All right, maybe the Capital Prince wasn't used to rough parenting. There's another reason, Luke said, voice low. You always ignore me. Really? I asked. You take forever to reply on WeChat. I ask you out. You reject me, then hang out with Julia. I come to your house, and you barely acknowledge me. The only chance to see you was at events. And even then, you just say a few polite words and leave. After you came back, you didn't like me. Treated me like some social prop. Okay, yeah, that did sound bad. But come on, he was always so cold and distant. How was I supposed to tell if I was a client or someone special? I looked up and saw how genuinely hurt he looked. So I soothed him. Next time, I'll reply instantly. Luke finally placed his phone in front of me. What's this post supposed to mean? I crossed my arms. What do you think? Does this mean you like me too? A glance at the clock, it was already 9 p.m. I turned on my phone. No need to guess how many unread messages there were. Smiling with the satisfaction of having finally turned the tables, I opened WeChat. As soon as I saw the message list, my forehead started throbbing. Right at the top, a public post push notification. After years of heartache, love prevails. The white moonlight finally shines on the Capital Prince.